Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LM Virtual. Our Sunday shows are resuming after a two-week hiatus. So welcome back.
3 week.
3 week.
Who's counting?
This is going to be great. We've got a great lineup for you today.
Yes, we do. I can share it. We've got Beyond the Body to start with Calico, followed by Access Miracles with Dan and Marie, and they have the guest on their show today, Spava. And then after that is Come Into the Light with Anne, and Anne is joined by Jason, an elder in the community today. And then we have Song of Prayer with Emily, followed by The Last Step with Jeffrey and Frank.
We've got a special treat for you after that, but you'll have to stay tuned to hear it. And now we're going to take you over to Calico, but we've got actually something really cool happening. We're going to try out one of our very new pre-recorded shows with Calico's show. So she won't be joining us in the studio today, but she's poured all of her heart into this new recording, which I'm happy to share with you.
Just a little runaway, 47 years and still I'm on the run. Afraid of love, I'm keeping God at bay. Spending days in a nightmare ain't much fun. I am just a little runaway. For my misery, always blaming someone else. I'm really into judgment and delay, but only hurting me.
Hi everybody, it's Beyond the Body. Welcome. You notice I've got a new backdrop. You may have noticed. I should probably turn on some lights. This is all a big experiment here for me. We'll see how this goes. We're doing some new things. Some new things are coming through for all of us, and so we're going to be doing some things differently. And one of them is our LM virtual programming. Up until this point in time, it's been live, and now we're switching to a recorded format if that's what people are feeling. And I've been feeling this for quite some time. I would like to do a recorded program. I have inspiration that hits me all times of the day, and it doesn't necessarily fit into the format of doing a live program just on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. So I have more flexibility now, so when the inspiration hits, I can just come into the Halo room, which is where I'm at right now. I'm in the Halo room. I may even just kind of switch this around if I can figure out how to do that. Yeah, here. This is the Halo room. See, we have a guitar in the corner, and then we have some speakers, and there's a lot of seating. This is where a lot of our programs for the community happen. And it's a beautiful space. It's got lots of doors, all windows, and you can hear the birds, and I really like the Halo room. So for right now, I'm getting an opportunity to do my program here quietly by myself with just you and me, and you are just my mind, so it's perfect. We did an altar party the other day around the pool, and unfortunately I filmed it, but the sound, I'm still learning new technical skills on a regular basis, and next time we do anything outside, I'm going to use a little roving speaker rather than just relying on the one that's in my phone. And the pool party was basically a pool altar party, and I had everyone put on their bathing suits, and we sat around and discussed those parts of the body that we have made wrong for a long time, and we were really willing to put them on the altar to see them differently. And that's the whole idea of doing anything, putting things on the altar, is that we are willing, we at least have a little bit of willingness to see something differently. And I've spent my life making my body wrong, so I had quite a few things. But the biggest thing that's up for me at that party was I have just felt big my whole life. Even when I was, you know, I'm not a small person. I'm shorter now, but I was 5'10" and 125 pounds after I got out of a refugee camp in Sudan for 6 months, and I still saw myself as overweight, too big. You know, and being a tall woman, I've never been able to hide well. And so what I put on the altar for myself was, I'm tired of feeling too big. I'm a beautiful expression of Christ mind. And can that be too big? So I put that on the altar, and a lot of people put many different things on the altar, from having too much body hair to the nose isn't right, the lips aren't right, the breasts aren't right, the butt's not right, the legs aren't right. I mean, it was a beautiful day to really see just how much this has affected our ideas about what the body should look like, has affected all of us. And if you know of somebody that has issues with their body, well, guess what? You're projecting them, so you have probably issues with your body too, that you can't even equate with your body. You have to project them on someone else. So I would like to show you one segment, a couple of shares from the altar pool party that we held here at La Casa. An altar session is basically where we take those thoughts that are not making us joyous, place them on the altar so that Holy Spirit can help us see them differently. And this particular party was dealing with body thoughts. So enjoy these shares. We're here for a special altar session, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with altar sessions, but it's where you put something on the altar for Holy Spirit to help you see it differently. And as you probably already know, today's program is about the body and those parts of our body that we use to shame ourselves. And I'm just going to start off because this is my idea. And being raised by an anorexic mother in a family that was more concerned about weight and looks than anything else, I knew my mother's waist size at age 5, and I'm not sure why any child would know their mother's waist size, but I did. Out of that came a long life of dieting. I was a Weight Watchers lifetime member at age 13. I have dropped 100 pounds at least 3 times in this lifetime. And even at my lightest weight, which was in a refugee camp in Africa, I was overweight in my eyes. And this is an altar session. And when I was in hospice, I remember a conversation I had with my hospice nurse. And I said that I would rather die thin than live fat. And I was really frustrated that I get cancer and I put weight on, I don't lose weight. And that was a huge, huge frustration for me. So I know that I'm still harboring a lot of these thoughts. And so to start this program out, I'm putting that on the altar. I really want to see this one differently. I don't want to die suffering from body shame. I've given enough of this lifetime. So I'm putting that on the altar. Holy Spirit, I really want to see this differently. Thank you.
So as long as I can remember, I've had this consistent problem with my skin. And I thought that was what I was going to be sharing about, because it's just been probably one of the main reasons I'm involved in spirituality. Like initially there was just so much judgment around just like a skin picking compulsively. to the point where it would be like I'd go to school with like bleeding sores on my face and pretty much anywhere I could reach on my body. And I thought that was what I had to share about, but it's been washed so much. What I found in my mind that I'm actually more afraid to reveal is how vain I am. Like, I think I'm very beautiful and like have a young body and reasonably fit. And you know, there's things that I could pick apart really at any time, but that I use that for getting what I want. It actually feels like more difficult to put on the altar than, oh, I do this to my body. It's like that's an old story. This feels more ugly in a way, that I use the beauty as a weapon, if that's even what it is. Like, that's what I see. Like, I can use it to get attention from men. I can use it to feel better than other women. I can use it to get what I want. Like, it's a way of getting myself out of situations, or I don't know, it's a tool, like a weapon. And it was really good to expose that. Yes.
Would you like to see that differently?
Yes, I think so. Yes, let's go for it. Let's put it all in.
Thank you. So, it's a fairly big topic, and that's why Beyond the Body is a program that I really feel very guided to continue doing in this new venue. So I hope you like it, and I really invite you to contact me and let me know of your ideas, or if you're having a particular issue. I can be very open to discussing this on air, and I'll figure out how we could possibly hook you in to a video so that we can discuss it on air. I'm definitely opening to just let's get this. And in A Course in Miracles, Jesus even tells us the last form that we really have to make peace with is the body, because we think it's who we are. And I mean, this is the beautiful thing about A Course in Miracles. Every aspect of our lives can be handled miraculously if we are willing. And since I was, given the diagnosis of cancer, I've been having an opportunity to really look at this topic of body and what it means. And I'm not in here. I'm not in here. That's one thing I've really gotten very deeply. It's like I live in mind. And I share this little parable from, this happened a year or two ago. I can't remember when. It was with my friend James Nike. You out there, James? Hi, James. And I was having some pain issues, and I was really going deep with the whole topic of pain, body pain. And I don't know why I expressed it, but it came out in that conversation. I said that I know that I've lived many lifetimes before. I don't doubt that for a minute. Yeah, that's just, call it a belief, call it whatever you will. I just know that I have lived lifetimes before. And with that, James said, and I'll never forget this, and it really was a critical turning point in looking at just about everything. He said, then, if you know you've lived before, who died? Who died? And that's when I started to realize I'm not in here. This is a tool, or as David says, it's a pencil. It's Holy Spirit's pencil, and I've just made it so personal and such a belief in this is who I am. I am this body. And the reality is the thoughts that I'm currently thinking right here are not in here. And I just need to say this from a neurological standpoint. I'm kind of drawing on some medical stuff here. But in neurology, they don't know where thoughts are. There's no scientific explanation for thoughts. There's a lot of people researching this, but they cannot locate a place in your brain where you're thinking. You know, they say, well, the prefrontal cortex is more thinking about the future. And I mean, they've got all these ideas of general areas of the brain where decisions are made, but there's no scientific anything that says your thoughts are up here. And with James Nike, that I really got, who did die? If I remember living before, and I do, and this is from an early age. I was from Japan. I was in Hiroshima, and I distinctly remember it, and it was the first time I think I had a past life experience when I went to Japan with a singing group when I was 16. And we went to Hiroshima, and I wasn't in anything spiritual at that point. And I had a flashback in Hiroshima, and I realized that, God, I was here, and I jumped in the river. We were passing this river, and I saw myself jumping into this river to get away from the heat. So I know I have had past lives. And so this is really dealing with this who dies. And I know so many people are now looking at this topic of death is impossible. You know, we think of death as some end or final thing, and the reality is we're not even in this form. Mind is pulled into some outside space. It's not in my head even. I see it now as one mind, you know, or one ego mind. I mean, there you can choose from either. You can go to the ego mind or you can go to the healed mind. And it's like that's where these thoughts are formed, and I think them. And then with repetitive nature of thinking, I start believing them, and then they become set, and then I have to work to release them as a belief that doesn't serve me. So this body, the idea of this body being me, it's who I am, and this will end at some point in time and, you know, slip away and I'm dead. It's kind of a silly thought at this point. I'm eternal in that respect. And this has been this inquiry. I'm grateful for cancer, quite frankly, that it has allowed me this exploration of form, to really go deep with it and see that, death is impossible. And, you know, I don't need to know any more than that, because that's the fear is of death. That was my biggest fear when the cancer hit me. It's like I went out in the middle of the street and cancer drove by and hit me. When I projected cancer, it was the future kind of stopped. I didn't have to think about a future because everyone was saying, well, yeah, you're terminal, go into hospice. So that cut off the future. But what it did do to me, and I offer this to anyone else that's going through this, it threw me into my past. And then I started having regret from my past, which is really coming fast and furious. I didn't have to worry about the future, but I started digging around in the past, and that's not really helpful. Just a hint to anyone else that's going through it. But what it did allow me to do is really see, okay, I'm happiest in this present moment, so let's work on that. And gaining the skills to stay very present with what is. What am I thinking now? What am I thinking now? And through the Living Miracles community, God bless, this is amazing. We have expression sessions every day, and it's just like, what's looping? What do you need to put on the altar? What do you want to get rid of? And you can express anything and everything, and people do. This is the gift we give ourselves and others, is that we're honest, and it's not about anyone else. It's just our connection with God and what's blocking that connection to God. These thoughts are. And so it's clear them out and go more into your Christ mind, dip deeper into your Christ mind. And so anyway, you know, as many of you may or may not know, I was diagnosed with 4-stage uterine cancer about, God, it was 2009, so it was like 8 years ago. And I was in hospice, and I graduated hospice, and there's been quite a few stories since then. But one of the things I've really been working on is going deeper with the decision to be sick. And this is truly a Course in Miracles, to really look at everything that happens in our lives is something that we've called forth, that we're projecting in order that we can go deeper, that allows us to go deeper. So this has definitely been one of those journeys, and I've learned so much about myself. And this program really is kind of being given birth out of a lot of those experiences. And one of the segments that I want to go into starting with this program is body shaming. And I have shamed my body this entire lifetime. And so probably lifetimes before, if the truth be known. So I'm really wanting to kind of nip this in the butt, so to speak, and really get very clear on all of it. And one of the big areas that has come up for me is the amount of body shaming that I have done just with myself. You know, I've always thought I would be happier 5 pounds less. No matter how much I weighed, I would be happier if I were 5 pounds less. And that's just a diversion, a distraction technique to keep me from really staying in this moment and being in the peace of God that I know I am. So at this point, and it's taken, you know, there's been some work that has gone into this. So I just want to say this is kind of the beginning of a new way of being in this program, and in this program Beyond the Body, and in A Course in Miracles. And I invite you to join me by sharing your ideas of areas that around your body that stop you, whether you find yourself sick or unhappy with some function in your body. Private message me on Facebook. I'm easy to find, Calico Hickey. And if you feel like you would like to talk to me about it, I'm more than happy to do that. And we can work something out, but just private message me and I'll definitely respond. I know that I've talked to several people in our community here about being on future programs to discuss these things, and I'm kind of excited about that. I know I want a whole show on fear of fat, for I think that's a fairly major fear that runs across the board. Except in Kenya. When I was in Kenya, the women there would wear blankets on their buttocks, and they just couldn't have big enough buttocks. And I think, you know, all these things are changing. I was in the generation of Twiggy and fairly anorexic frames, and my body was never anorexic looking. So I made myself wrong for that in so many ways, and I would love to see this topic completely discussed thoroughly, and I want to use this format to do it, because that is one of the biggest things that I see that led to me projecting cancer, is that I have never liked myself, and I'm learning to love myself now, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's a fairly interesting process and not always easy. And I invite you all to join me in the exploration of learning to love yourselves. And the way we can do that is by seeing where we're critical of ourselves and how we make it wrong and want to change it. And I mean, I've been on every diet on the planet. You know, I was on liquid protein diets, macrobiotics, vegan diets. I've done all kinds of diets. And I've kind of with all these diets, I have kind of smoke screened. I have used many diets as a distraction, and I've often called them not to change form, because I didn't want to go to the truth of the matter, I use these diets as a way of being healthier or being more ecologically correct, or I diverted the truth of why I was perhaps eating vegan or macrobiotic, or, you know, the protein diet was just to get a handle on some issues and health issues. And so I've used diets, and, you know, I was a chiropractor for 35 years, and I would give people diets for whatever they came in that they were concerned with. I had a diet for no sugar diet, you know, no dairy diet, no gluten diets, macrobiotics, kidney diets, liver diets, cleanses. I had a whole armory of diets. I was the diet queen. And I currently, and I spoke this to a friend the other day, I currently eat for joy. It's whatever makes me happy I go for. And the reality is it's a fairly joyous way of eating, and yeah, it's quite simple. So I want to discuss that, and one of these programs will be going into diets and looking at, you know, juicing. And it's not whether you do a diet or not, or eat a prescribed way or not. It's more, how are you holding it? Are you making your body wrong in some way? Are you trying to fix your body in some way? Because that's where A Course in Miracles comes in. It's not in the doing, it's in how are you holding it. Are you making yourself wrong because you're too heavy and you want to lose weight? You're making yourself wrong because you're eating meat and you don't believe in hurting animals? So that's what we'll look at the diet section. I know Laverne Shepherd here in our community, I absolutely adore her, and we've talked about possibly getting together and doing a segment on fear of fat together, because, you know, she has a lot of history with having that control her life as well. So we're looking at a lot of different things here. You know, we had a pool party the other day, and that's what really sprang, this whole new format kind of sprang from that. I'll be showing clips from that, but unfortunately the audio wasn't very good, and so this is kind of a test run to see if the audio works on this particular form of videoing. Then I'll be able to join with others and we can discuss these ideas as they come up too. And I'm putting that out in our community here, that if an issue with the body comes up, let's join. Let's join and do a program with it. You know, are you catching a cold? Let's talk about it. You know, let's look at this a little differently. Colds aren't just out there waiting to be caught. So it's going to be flipping everything about the body up on its head, and I look forward to seeing where this goes, because I really don't know. I have some ideas that I've jotted down, but like I said, I'm open to an open invitation for stuff that you might see coming up in your lives that you'd like to see discussed. You know, let's talk about anorexia and bulimia from this new perspective, not as there's something wrong, but the correction is not in the doing. The correction is in the mind. And so I look forward to seeing what comes out of all this. So that brings us to an end of another Beyond the Body segment. I just want to close with this, and just to let you know, there's a special treat after this, because our pool party ended with all of us going in the pool, and I just put some music to and wanted to share that with you. But for right now, let's just read this part of the text in chapter 19. The body does appear to be the symbol of sin while you believe that it can get you what you want. While you believe that it can give you pleasure, you will also believe that it can bring you pain. To think you could be satisfied and happy with so little is to hurt yourself, and to limit the happiness that you would have calls upon pain to fill your meager store and make your life complete. This is completion as the ego sees it. Communion is another kind of completion, which goes beyond guilt because it goes beyond the body. So I hope that all of you join us and jump in with both feet. Have a great moment.
I am just a little runaway, 47 years and still I'm on the run. Afraid of love, I'm keeping God at bay, spending days in a nightmare.
This is Beyond the Body from La Casa de Milagros.
It was just a tiny mad idea, at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. We built an altar made of hate and fear. We let the ego live on our behalf.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Calico. I know you're out there listening, so I thought that was a beautiful show. Yeah, I was actually at that altar session, and I remember feeling uncomfortable in the bathing suit, and we were invited to share from our heart around what the thoughts are around the body, and just all the self-criticism that's there, and yeah, it just felt really powerful at the time, and I can just see what a hotbed of healing that is for everybody. Actually, right across the board. I know you and I were talking not too long ago about this, and just realizing the depth of it, and just everybody has this in the mind, like until it gets fully exposed and handed over to the spirit, there's more healing. So I'm really grateful for this, Calico. Yeah, I just feel like you're a real pioneer in this area, bringing this to share and to help us release it all together. So, yeah. So, you got anything?
No, I'm empty. That was fantastic. Thank you, Calico. Yeah. Well, we'll be back soon in about a little less than 15 minutes with our next show, Access Miracles with Dan and Marie, and special guest Baba. Tune in.
Unwind your mind.
Hi, I want to talk about Unwind Your Mind 30-day experience today. It is a free 30-day program for anyone who studies A Course in Miracles, or anyone who is interested in awakening or healing in the mind. Our minds are so used to look at the world and ourselves from an egoic perspective. In that, we lose touch with our true identity and with the inner guidance that can lead us back to the awareness of being one with God. And this program is like a 30-day detox for the mind. On Monday of each week, you will receive the theme of the week. And those themes are very common themes and problems that people are dealing with in their everyday lives, such as money, addictions, relationships, etc. For the rest of the week, you will be receiving daily messages that are teachings or movie clips or reminders. And the purpose of them is to remind the mind to remember its true identity and to help the mind open up to a complete new way of looking at everything and a deeper understanding of how to use whatever that comes up in the mind for the purpose of awakening. So this is a very practical, gentle, and powerful approach, and it really helps the mind to get in touch with the deeper truth and deeper inner guidance. I hope you enjoy it.
Unwind your mind. Unwind your mind.
Hi everyone. It's a beautiful day and we just felt to
It is a beautiful day.
talk about
bright.
a little bit about the Quiet Answer Retreat that's coming up the end of June and just share our feelings about it really.
Yeah, I just really appreciate the ebb and flow of how the space has been used. And I haven't been here for quite a while, so I just came up a couple of days ago and it just feels so nice to be here.
Yeah.
Really nice. I feel it holds like that space, whatever you're here for, is so completely supported.
Yeah.
It's like you come and you somehow like you give yourself 100% permission to do what you came for.
Yeah.
No.
And I think that that's what this retreat is for. It's going to be more of an experience to come into and to experience the love and the presence really of this present moment. And that's what's so inspiring to us right now, is letting go of linear time and just seeing the beauty and the abundance of what's offered in the present moment. And so when you come into this environment and you start to open up to that, it's like a whole new world can open up to you. And there will be availability for sessions where if there's anything on the heart that you've wrestled with, that there will be time spent with that, so that there can be that deep application of just forgiveness and really going away with a sense of upliftment and a greater sense of peace.
Yeah, and whether you are already experiencing dropping into the stillness, or that is the prayer of your heart, that you feel this call, knowing that you need it. This is the kind of retreat where you can come no matter where you're at with that experience, because there's a lot of support. There's some structure, obviously, with breakfast and lunch and the meal times, and then also the coming together for a guided meditation, for an altar session. And we really do support the awareness of mindfulness and the backdrop of mind training, which is the the practice of stilling the mind to then allow the silence to come into awareness, because as we all know, you can't make silence happen. You can't make stillness happen. The one that wants to make something happen is the very part of the mind that is to be released, to come into the experience of the silence that's always there. And so we're just very much in support of practice for just training the mind to be still and present, and then if your mind is ready to really drop into the vast stillness, then this is a very supportive environment and atmosphere to allow that to happen.
Yeah, it feels like it will be highly individualized in a way. Like you said, all are welcome, no matter where you think you're at on the journey. And the name of it is The Quiet Answer, which came to us in prayer, and we just loved that. There's a section in the Course called The Quiet Answer, and there was a beautiful post about this retreat talking about how God will answer us in the stillness of our mind and our heart, and I feel like that's what this is for. Like, it's kind of like step aside so that which loves you can find you. You know, instead of seeking, it's like there's just this gentle stepping back into this quietness of the mind. And so that will be guided. That will be guided as needed. And so it is a silent retreat, but it's not complete silence. It's a contemplative retreat. It's a nurturing, loving, beautiful. I just feel like it's like going to the spa like we used to in our life before. You know, and just be pampered, the body and everything. And this is a spa for the soul, and just to come here and just to be loved up and to be nurtured and carried, and to really kind of uncover that worthiness of that, and to just accept it in. So we just really extend a warm invitation. That's what we wanted to share today, is just, come join us for this beautiful time together.
Yeah, still mind is no small gift. We are in deep appreciation of a still mind, and so to support this for anyone who's called to come really is our joy, like the deepest joy of our heart. Yeah. The relationship with God is what it's all about. Yes. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Okay, so we have, I don't know if I could do this without laughing. We have Access Miracles up next with Dan and Marie, and they have Svava on their show today. So take it away, Dan and Marie.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. This is Marie.
This is Dan.
And we have our guest here.
This is Svava.
Okay. It's not on. Here we go. Okay.
So welcome, and we're pleased to be here with Svava, and I think that this will be a fun interview.
Yeah, and actually before we start, like we've been doing with our other shows, I'd like to anchor our show on the 5th miracle principle, which I'm going to read right now. It's so fitting with our guest as well. And it says, miracles are habits and should be involuntary. They should not be under conscious control. Consciously selected miracles can be misguided. What's really neat was because we wanted Svava for our first show, and the guidance wasn't there. And we didn't know when she was going to end up on our show, if that was even going to happen. So in and of itself, the fact that she is here on our show, and it's also the last show that Dan and I are going to be doing in person, because I'll be traveling to Camas. So it's kind of fitting. All of these things are just, they have their own way of coming up and showing up as miracles.
Right. So we are about to embark on this question journey. And I'd like to, the first question I really have for Svava is, she had mentioned when we asked her that she might explain a little bit about how this walk of trust that she's been on with her life, and it went from a life of being kind of fearful and depending on some medications and things to one of living a life of devotion and love of Jesus. And so with that, I would ask you to maybe fill in the blanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have been like feeling Jesus is present in my life, my whole life. And when the course came in my life, I was totally desperate. I tried everything. Like you mentioned, I had been on medication for decades. I have had countless depressions, many mental illness labels. So I was totally desperate. So when the course came into my life, I was so willing. I was like, I'll do anything. This is it. This is gonna save my life, I felt. I remember I was living in Denmark, and I had the book Course in Miracles in Danish, and I opened the book and I heard Jesus say to me, "No, you have to read this book in English." And I was, okay, I'm willing. So I closed the book and I bought it in English. And then Jesus started guiding me. One morning I was gonna take my medication, and I heard, "No, you have to get out of this medication." And I had been trying it on my own, but so much fear coming up about it. But I got very precise instructions from Jesus. I heard, this medication you can get rid of now, this you have to reduce. And I heard very specific, reduce to this doses for this many weeks, and I just followed. And because it wasn't myself, Svava, trying to do anything, I was just following this voice, I wasn't fearful because I wasn't trying anything. I was totally dependent on Jesus, on God, to do this for me. So after 5 months, I was out of all medication. I had been for decades dependent on sleeping medication, anxiety, for bipolar, all kinds of stuff. So it was, I think I was so desperate and so willing, because it was this, or my option was suicide, actually. It was just, okay, I have to go full in and just trust this. Yeah.
Well, had you already been studying the course previous to this point?
No, I had been studying other things for many years, but nothing was really working for me. I always got back to being depressed and suicidal. So, but I really felt that I had been praying for something to come in my life that would work. And I was watching at that point videos with Eckhart Tolle, and then he mentioned the course. And when he did that, I was like, this is it. This is it. I felt this spark in my heart.
Yeah.
This is it. This is gonna change my life. So so it wasn't many years ago. I started studying the course in January 2016. And it's just been very quick. I think it's because I was so willing and I just followed, and I could hear specific guidance from Jesus. Yeah.
So these hearing him was it like a voice, or was it like your thoughts? How did that come about?
It's not like hearing with your ears, but it's like he was speaking to my mind. It still does. Yeah. But I hear sentences. Yeah.
How soon after that did you meet David?
How soon after this whole process transpired?
Yeah, well, after I got out of the medication, I was like, okay, what now? I'll do anything. I was on my knees. And at that point, some songs started coming to me in the middle of the night. And and then suddenly I wasn't really looking for anything. I had not been like listening to David's videos or anything. Not really, like past sometimes a bit on YouTube, but but then this retreat came up on the screen in Holland with David and Francis, Jenny, and Helena, and I just felt in my heart that it was like I had already been there. I had to be there, but I was so fearful, you know. I was so afraid of people. I was just hiding in my apartment with my two twin boys. They were teenage boys. I didn't really go out to grocery shopping unless it was nighttime before the shops closed down, because then no people would be there. So I was, you know, totally, and I had never traveled on my own or anything, but I felt I'm going to be there, and it was in Holland. And I was totally freaking out, but somehow I signed up for this. And after a week, I just like, I can't do this. I tried to cancel, but I never got response from this email. So Jesus had another plan. And yeah, I was so afraid. And I had a plan. You know, I had to fly to Holland, and I had to take 2 different trains and a bus to middle of nowhere. And I had all planned, my flight, when it landed, where to go, which platform, and everything. And then my flight was delayed. And I was sitting on the plane, and I was totally freaking out. I was so afraid. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And then suddenly when the plane landed, my fear just flipped around, and I got so excited. It was like I was, oh my God, I did this. I made it, I'm here, I'm in Holland. And I was so happy, and I started talking to people on the plane, asking them for guidance. And I never really talked to people. Yeah. I was so different. I was like, oh, something is taking over. And so, yeah, and one guy on the plane, he said, oh, my parents live there. I had the address. So all the way, I got people helping me buy tickets and leading me to the platform, to the bus, and had holy encounters on the train, on the bus, and everything. And I remember when I got out of the bus, it was dark, and it was like in the country in Holland. And I got out of the bus with my bag, and I thought, okay, Jesus, where do I go now? And then I heard, turn around, go to the house behind you and knock on the door. And I turned around, and there was some light there. It was like 9:30 in the evening. And I walked down and knocked on the door, and this elderly couple opened the door. They didn't speak any English. So I was trying to like explain with the address, I had to go there and there. And they were just so lovely. They drew a map for me, and the guy, he walked half of the way with me, carried my bag, and it was, yeah, and this just changed my life totally. It was like, wow, who am I? Everything I thought I was, all the fear, everything.
Yeah, definitely miracle principle number 5 right now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's involuntary, and all just happened.
Yeah.
And so now to see you traveling and singing in public all the time. Wow.
Yeah, oh my God. I was not doing music before the course at all. I was, different kinds, clothing design and nursing and stuff. I was always trying to fit in the world. So this with music just came after the course, and that has been a lot of resistance for me. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, just singing in public or speaking and taking down these songs, and now playing the guitar. And it was, yeah, I think it was 3 weeks before the quantum immersion retreat, I heard you have to start playing the guitar. And I started playing, and in 2 weeks I wrote 12 songs. I couldn't stop. It was just, I couldn't just, it was just, and they came so quick. And I don't know what it is for. I have no idea. And I've been, you know, when my mind starts going into hypotheticals, what it is for, like in the future, am I supposed to do anything with this? Or I just get like confused, and I lose myself in it. So it's a good practice for me to just always come back to the now. It's not about music or playing or anything. It's like, I want to share one thing. We went to see this movie last week with this man that has so much, I don't remember the name of it. I Can Only Imagine. Yeah, I Can Only Imagine. Yeah. And during the movie, it's about this man that has all this unworthiness and starts writing songs and all that. And I remember sitting there and I said to Jesus, okay, my function is to write songs and sing. And then I heard, no. And then he said, no, your function is to to be love. To be and I just started crying because it was so deep for me, because I thought I had to do something in form, and it's not about doing anything at all. It's all about being the truth of who we are, being me, just being love and joy, and just be happy. And it was such a relief for me. First I was like, what then? What am I supposed to do? But then it was just, I could feel, wow, this is such a relief. I don't have to do anything. I just have to be. Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating. I was curious too. I know that you met David then at that retreat, kind of a weekend retreat it was, and you're in relationship with him. And I was wondering if for a lot of people that is a challenge to be with a mystic like that, and thought I'd get your input on that. See how's it going?
Well, it's a total flusher. Oh my God. It's
Flusher, I like that word.
Perfect. Yeah, all these beliefs, old beliefs, false beliefs I have, they come up, but David, he's just like reflecting the truth all the time. So sometimes it's just so frustrating. Yeah, it's everything just comes up, everything, and it's a full-time job. Yeah.
He likes pizza. Are you into pizza?
Yeah, it's funny. We like mostly the same things.
That's not a flusher. That's not a flusher, the pizza.
No. Yeah, and music, and so many. Yeah, but all my issues about not being good enough and exclusion, unworthy, and everything, this comes up. But he always shows me the truth in it. Yeah. And sometimes it can be very. Sometimes I just explode and I have to just go for a walk. I use walking a lot. Just to
kind of let it
process the healing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, more questions?
Yeah, I did actually. Do you feel that Jesus tells us that our lives reflect our desires, and that we are living this is essentially a projected life of what we think we are. And have you gotten any terrific insights from that kind of question, or that kind of understanding that you're not what you were, and what are you now?
Who am I?
Who
It's the
are
biggest
you?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about desires. It's more like I'm letting go of all desires. in form. My one desire is the peace of God, is all I desire. So everything I see that is not true, it's such a gift for me, because then I can let it go and come back to my one desire, the peace of God. Yeah.
What is your experience of your twin boys now? What is that like in this journey of awakening?
Yeah, well, that was absolutely amazing when I had been to this retreat in Holland, and I just knew in my heart that I was gonna go a different way. I was gonna leave everything behind, and all these thoughts about, you know, what about my family, what about my boys, what about everything. And then one night I said to Jesus, you have to make it obvious for me. How can I do this? And I shared this before. I was blowing out candles in my living room, and one of the candles slipped out of my hand, and the wax ran over a photo of me and my boys, and it deleted me out of the photo. The wax just went over me. And then I heard Jesus say, how does this feel? Oh. And something just happened to me there. I felt this different kind of love for my boys, that it was something, it felt so free. All these ideas I had about what they should be or do or whatever, everything just got flushed away. And I could just feel that I could hear, job well done. You're done. And yeah, it was just so amazing. I really felt like my role as the concept of a mom was finished, and everything was okay, that everything was going to be taken care of. And but I was in fear about sharing this with my boys. So I was just praying for Jesus to speak through me. And one evening at dinner, it just came out of me that I don't remember really what I said, but I shared that I needed to go. And they said to me, Mom, you gotta go. Oh. They said that you always taught us to follow our heart and our happiness. You have to do that. So my joy in it, and I was so clear that it was that. So my reflection was that everything was okay. So, and today I have never had such a beautiful relationship before. Well, we had a beautiful relationship, but now it's even deeper, and they are happy. You know, when I have a call with them on Skype, they're just, oh, Mom, I just got a job, and they're just like in the joy, and okay, have a beautiful day. I love you. I never heard so many times I love you since I left. Yeah. So that's amazing. And my parents are very supportive. Yeah. Everyone, actually. And that is the thing. It's been so easy for me, kind of. So sometimes I have this like, okay, should I feel guilty? Almost feeling guilty about not feeling guilty.
Yes.
That comes up sometimes.
Yeah, I find that for myself too. When there's peace and there's ease, it's like, wait, something is wrong. And then I was like, no, this is actually the way to live. Yeah. This is actually what's real.
Yeah.
The ease and the joy and the flow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
do you have any more questions?
No,
Jan?
I actually, the only other thing I was curious about
the clock
was really about the, you had, at some point you posted something that I saw that was a dream that you had. And it was a dream that was very clear. You remembered it very clearly. This is kind of coming out of left field, but do you recall that it was some sort of a mystical experience almost, where you had a number of encounters with others that you eventually realized were aspects of your own self?
I don't remember that dream.
Okay.
Then we segue over to here. Sorry. Yeah, and I think maybe just as a little bit more of a getting to know Sababa is that I know your last name is actually Eliason, is it?
Eliason. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's for our audience and that's for me as well. And so I thought I would run down something really quick, and just as a getting to know. Do you have a favorite course quote in mind right now?
Beware of the temptation to feel unfairly treated. That came in my mind. I don't know if I have a favorite. It just
great. Do you have a favorite chapter?
Favorite chapter. I don't know. I love that. That's all the course. The relationships.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite. Maybe the last one.
Oh.
Yeah. If I should say anything.
Yeah. Favorite workbook lesson?
Comes to my mind, I am the light of the world.
Oh. I like that too. Okay. And I think I ran this by you really quickly. It's just a way for me to get to know you, for us to get to know you. And so if you had to pick which one of the two, it could be one or both, or skip. Do you prefer sitting meditation, walking meditation?
Walking meditation.
Singing or dancing?
That's a difficult one. I like both.
Okay, it's a both. Unwind your mind back to God, or purpose is the only choice, as the book?
Unwind your mind back
Yes,
to
me
God.
too. One-on-ones or large gatherings?
One-on-ones. I don't like speaking in public.
You are now. Thank you, Jesus. The world had to hear this. Traveling or meditating?
Traveling.
Wow, that's definitely a big change.
That's a
based on your,
surprise.
yes.
Thank you.
Oh, it's awesome. Tabula Rasa Mystery School or Strawberry Music and Enlightenment Festival that's happening in 2 different months this year for us.
Well, I've never been to a strawberry, so I'll pick that.
Ah, yes. I had a feeling you would. Oh, cats or dogs?
Cats.
Yeah, no. Reading David Hoffmeister books or writing in your blog?
I'd rather read David's books. I think. I haven't written in my blog for a while. Thank you for reminding me.
Online retreats or in-person retreats?
I like online retreats.
I know, they're awesome, aren't they? Trust walk or open-eyed eye-gazing meditation?
Open eyes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, last one before we all get a song from Savava. I'll say a word and the first word that comes to mind.
Okay.
David Hoffmeister.
Love.
Yes. The world.
Pain.
Miracles.
Entitled.
What is it?
Entitled.
Nice. Savava.
Princess.
Yes. Amen.
Oh my God.
I love it. And last one, healing.
Oh, desire.
Oh.
Why do I say it? I don't know.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. Wow. And I think we have time for a song now. We don't know what Savava is singing, but oh my word, I know it's going to be amazing.
This is a song I wrote, maybe a week ago or something. And I was in so much pain and I was crying when I was downloading this song. So, thank you.
And the title is?
It's called My Life Is Not My Own.
Ooh, yes.
Thank you.
Standing on a cliff and calling you, feeling all alone, but that can't be true. There must be something more than what I see, something pure, endless and free. Lead me, Jesus, through the darkness. I trust in you, Jesus. My life is not my own. My life is not my own. I try to find the truth in the wrong place, somewhere out there in a lost space. You have shown me that the truth lies within my heart, where it has always been. Lead me, Jesus, through the darkness. I trust in you, Jesus. My life is not my own. My life is not my own. Your glory shows me the way. Jesus, you're all I seek. At your feet I lay my head. Oh, Jesus, thank you. All that I longed for was always here, right now, and closer than my breath. Trust has settled every problem now. Oh, Jesus, you showed me how. Lead me, Jesus, through the darkness. I trust in you, Jesus. My life is not my own. My life is not my own. My life is not my own. My life is not my own.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been such an honor.
Thank you.
Such an honor.
It has
Thank
for
you.
us.
No words, Ababa. Thank you.
Oh,
And thank you, everyone, for joining us as we witness this miracle that is in front of us. It's a part of your mind, one mind in the heart of God. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
bye.
Oh, that was wonderful. What a treat. Thank you guys so much. I feel like it's so beautiful. We get to do like a spotlighter as you've just done with Svava, because then we get to learn about all the miracles that Svava's had too. So it's just really beautiful. Thank you. Okay. So we'll be back in about 15 minutes with our next show. Anne will be on her show Come Into the Light with special guest Jason. So we'll see you in about 15 minutes.
I'm so grateful for the monastery here. It's been such an amazingly deep, profound and healing place for me, and I've seen the transformation in so many people that have come here. You know, there's like this solid foundation here that I feel it really helps us get in touch with who we truly are. And in coming to that, of course, anything that is not that is going to be flushed up. The great thing is here that the reverence and the purpose is so pure that it's safe, you know. It's very safe to allow anything that isn't love to be allowed up in forgiveness. And so, I'm very grateful for the monastery. I'm just so grateful to be able to share about it right now, actually, because it's got a very special place in my heart. It's a very devoted place. Maybe I'll see you sometime here. Okay, much love.
State of presence, you see everyone exactly like yourself. You know, you already are what you're looking for, what you're searching for, and you don't have to fix yourself, which is pretty much the mentality of the world.
When you see yourself as weary, come me and be undone.
So this book is really, if you give yourself over to it, that's really what the book is about. It's about coming back to a remembering of who you are. None of us were really told how to go inside. A lot of us read that in different spiritual traditions that you're supposed to search within for the answers. And so I think this book, in one sense, gives you the how. As you begin to open up your mind and open up your heart, then you do get in touch with some pretty intense emotions. And this book is, in that sense, a gentle guide as well to take you down deeper and deeper and deeper. It's been a culmination of about close to 20 years of collaborations that have gone into this book. And some of you who have seen the book know that it's actually 3 books in one. It's kind of like a trilogy in one. The book really helps with the mind training of starting to realize that everything is an idea, and that ideas leave not their source. And just like Christ could never leave the mind of God, the ideas and everything we perceive in this world, as much as it may seem to be out there, isn't really out there. That the way the healing occurs is this integration of seeing that anything that you're bothered by, anything that you're disturbed by, frustrated by, it's because you're still trying to see it outside of your mind. And the Spirit is gently using this book, and as far as the unwinding, to bring it back, to see that you have empowerment. You actually, your mind contains all the thoughts. When you start to think more quantum with everything, woo, your mind is going to expand so much faster, and the problems you think you had can vanish just through insights in your mind. Just through your mind recognizing itself more and more, you will watch problems start to dissolve, and just like they're like melted butter dripping off the table, will just roll off. Thing you've been struggling with for years rolls off the table and it's gone. Just because of your spiritual experience can take you that far. Just from that insight. We're going for that flesh, that expansive, oh my gosh, my problems aren't what I thought they were at all. Wow. You know, it's a wow, it's an aha, it's a wow experience in your mind. That's what spiritual awakening is all about.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our Sunday shows on LM Virtual here. Our next show is Come Into the Light with Anne, and she's got with her today special guest Jason.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Come Into the Light with myself, Anne, and Jason Warwick. Jason's an elder member of the community, and he's been an inspiration behind a lot of the recent changes, including the quantum immersion retreat and the changes that are about to come in for the shows that I don't know too much about, so this is all very new for me, and it's what we'll be talking about today. Jason met Fernando Negrini, I'm glad I could say that, who came to the quantum immersion retreat, and she's worked with Spike Lee's network Vice for many years. So I just wanted to ask Jason really about meeting Fernanda and yeah, how that's brought about some changes, or is about to bring some changes, should I say.
Yeah, we've been a big ship going in a direction, and these changes are so big that we have to give it some time to transition. But some of you may know we have a property up in Utah. We call it Camas Metaphysical Center, and about 1 or 2 days before the last quantum immersion retreat started, we got news that it wasn't going to sell anytime in the near future. And so we all just sat down at a restaurant and kind of went into prayer about, well, what now then? Because we were preparing for almost like a full shift down to Mexico with just the monastery. And so we just put a prayer, and I think David and I both felt Fernanda might bring some kind of a change, but we didn't know what. We'd never met her, never had a talk with her. And we did this 4-day retreat, and she was so fired up by the content that we had that Stephen was there at that retreat, that basically she said, well, I worked at this company called Vice. Some of you might have heard Vice News. And it's such a huge news station. I think Disney and Fox bought 5% of it or something for hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. And she has all this wisdom from her time working with them in terms of marketing, how to do shows, how to reach greater masses, and they target directly to millennials. But she said, I can help you guys. And so she went around through all of our shows and just made some suggestions and suggested pre-recorded shows and shows every day of the week, and 2-minute shows and 5-minute shows and half-an-hour shows. And she told me one story when she joined with Susan, that she said, so tell me how long your show is, Susan. She's like, oh, very short. It's only 30 minutes. And she burst into laughter, like they make whole documentaries in 5 minutes, and we call 30 minutes short shows. So she has all these ideas that will kind of break.
Yeah, so it's going to mean a lot of changes for the show. So yeah, watch out for those. Yeah, along with that, this seems to open up many new volunteer opportunities for people. I looked at the list and I was going to list everything, but it's too many. But I thought I'd just show, Nicholas, if you're there, to show the video, a short clip of a video, because some of the volunteer opportunities includes video editing. And this is just an idea of the direction for short videos. It's by Andrei Blande, and he's from Romania, and it feels really fresh and creative. So I'd like you to have a look at this. Hopefully it'll be shown. Okay, here we go.
Every time you look at the world, it's the observer, it's your perception that's determining the entire world you see. It's not just an external world where events are happening in a concrete physical world that has nothing to do with you. It really has, the person that you believe you are and the world you perceive are all part of a projection that the one mind is projecting. And so everyone is acting just as you want them to act. Everyone is saying the very words you want. It's like, imagine you had a play and you passed out the parts. Say, here, you're going to play Hamlet, and you're going to play this one, and you're going to play the, and you passed out all the parts, and everybody speaks exactly the words that you wrote, the ego wrote in an ancient instant, and everybody says and does and behaves exactly the way the ego planned it. And so the script is written, and it's just a movie playing out of your wishes. It's a motion picture of your mind. That's why you're not a victim, is because the mind is doing it to itself. It's not at the mercy of people. It's projected to people. The people are saying and doing everything that the ego told them to do, and then the spirit is trying to get you to come back, all the way back, and see that you're dreaming the whole thing, that you're not even a character on the screen. You never were even a character. You're dreaming, and then behind that, you're the Christ. You're actually at one with God. But you have to realize you're the dreamer of it first, but otherwise the victimization and the grievances just keep going on and getting acted out for thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of years. These grievances get acted out in time. Or you can come all the way back to one simple realization that you're dreaming.
Thank you for showing that, Nicholas. Yeah, I don't know if you've got any comments to make about it, Jason, or
Well,
how it weaves into the picture, you know, in Living Miracles.
well, because of this new direction with reaching either millennials or fresh, young at heart, you know, people that are just delusioned from relationships, delusioned from the world, disillusioned from everything. We really want to, it's going to sound funny, but focus more on the form. Because, you know, it's all been about content, and we've spent 10, 15 years perfecting the content, meaning bringing it into our own lives and having a transformation occur for us. And we really didn't care about the numbers. We didn't really care about how it looked. It was all about having this inner transformation. But I feel now that Jesus is saying it's time now to reach people where they believe they're at, and they love short clips. They love provocative content, and we'll have a trending show where you take the news item of the day and start it out there and then trace it all the way back in to the core beliefs in the mind. In order to do this at such a high speed, we need highly skilled people, highly skilled editors and video editors. And so Andre, without even knowing, just on an unconscious level, started firing off all these videos, 5 or 6 of them at the very same time we were putting out this telepathic request. And so I think you felt that, so you wanted to play.
Yeah, definitely. It just felt so vibrant when I watched it for the first time. It's like, but I didn't understand why, so that's why we're here actually now. So and about the opportunities, I'll name a few. Obviously the video editing, what else? Service managers, ebook designers, landing pages, I don't even know what that is, website management, creative content innovation, transcribing, and I think Kristen or Susan can perhaps give you a fuller picture after the show and how to apply as a volunteer. But you started to answer already my next question, which was about how these changes are helpful for the awakening and for the whole. You know, what changes are Living Miracles making? You know, you've already mentioned content instead of, so I don't know quite what the question is, but
Well, more and more, I think, well, from the beginning, our focus was everybody just come and let up your thoughts and let's go into the healing and explore everything. But the deeper you go, you start to see that, I don't know if you've seen, Emily just showed me this clip today where it says it's not about the nail. It's this really cool 2-minute video where this woman has a nail stuck in the middle of her head. and she's just going on and on. She's like, there's this pressure in my mind. I don't know what it is. I can't sleep at night. It's really difficult to figure out. And then they show the video of this guy sitting beside her, and he's like, well, you know, you have a nail in your forehead. And she's like, you're always trying to fix me. You're always trying to tell me what you think this problem is. She's like, can't you just listen for once? And so she goes on, you know, it's just, I think it's something deep from my childhood, or like, it's psychological. I don't know what to do. And she's like, well, you know, you have a nail. Stop it. This relationship's over. I can't take this anymore. I want out of here, you know? And it was this really funny video that Emily's take on it was, it's like the Holy Spirit working with us. We're always trying to talk about it or figure it out, or even put a demand on other people to listen, when really, you know, the Spirit is saying, do only that, you know, do only this, listen to me. And so people coming to the ministry now, it feels like they're going to be called into this deep level of service that they'll realize on some level is their way out, because like Svava's story, you know, they may or may not have these skills and abilities, but they want to be used. I'll do anything. Please show me. And we're a great channel for those skills and abilities to just totally have you in the Holy Spirit and pop you out. So that's how it serves us. And then how it serves everybody else is they're going to see this high quality content that will really be like an inroads of attraction, like kind of meet them where, I mean, who really cares about what Trump does when you're at this level of Course in Miracles? But many of you still may be watching, what is Trump doing? What is Trump doing today? Why did this man get, you know, this 30-year-old man get evicted from his home by his parents? And if there's an attraction to that, then we feel the Spirit can use that to take you deeper into the mind. So
yeah. So I'm wondering if this means a big shake-up within the community. You know, I just have a feeling of more younger people coming into the community, or is that just an idea in my mind? Nothing to do with what's going on.
I think, like Fernanda said, she said when they were making this content for millennials, the CEO of the company said he realized that nothing for the young people will be made in a boardroom. So to me, I relate something with that anybody that comes has to be really ready to just, okay, like Lisa Lotte wrote, we had about 8 to 11 people applied after the last, I don't know when it is I got up here and spoke. Maybe it was the online retreat or something, but we had 8 to 11 people that applied and want to come because they want to be right in it. They want to be in the heart. So it's not really about age. It's about, are you ready to just dive right in and be used to whatever the Spirit would have you do, even if it's not what you thought your gifts were. And okay, like Svava didn't think she could deal with people, but she just went for it. And look at how the Spirit just hammered her with all these witnesses. So.
Yeah. So I suppose there's a question in that. It's like, I came into the community with seemingly no sort of skills that I could use. I had some admin skills and a few other skills, you know, cooking maybe and things like that. But I seem to have been used in a lot of different ways. So if you're putting out a question to invite people in that have already got those skills, how does that work with the people that would like to be used in any which way, but don't actually have the skills? It's like, I would never have seen myself sitting here interviewing you. It's like beyond anything that was in my mind, you know, but that's the way it's come in for me. So are there still opportunities really for people that might not have this skill set that you're asking for?
Well,
but really want to be used, like you said with Svava.
I think it comes down to desire, because it really doesn't matter where you've come from or what your skills are. But if you've just made a prayer over to Jesus, the Spirit, and said, yeah, I don't know how to wake up from this dream. I'm lost. I'm confused. And you can feel that desire is pure and strong. then Jesus will use that, even if it isn't pure. He's just going to take that full extent of that prayer and and if you're fire you off. And if you're meant to be fired here, then that will be obvious. There'll be a need. It's not really about, like, I'm thinking of Trinity in the Matrix, you know, when she has to go off onto a mission and she just sits in the chair and says, send me the helicopter program or something. And they download her in a few seconds a helicopter program, meaning how to fly a helicopter. And she's okay. So she enters the Matrix and flies this helicopter all around. And I so fully believe that if your willingness is there, you will learn whatever it is you're supposed to learn and step into that. And that's really the only requirement. And if it's not here, it's somewhere else, then that prayer will funnel you into whatever you're doing.
Okay,
It doesn't really
yeah.
matter. It's the prayer.
It's the prayer underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just summarizing what I think you're saying, it's like, yeah, it's putting out a request for all these different skills, but underneath that there's a prayer, you know, like if anybody's got a desire, you know, like that's out there in the world and they don't feel really like, yeah, a little bit like Fernanda actually, she's out there and she wants a different desire underneath it, and she's come in here and it's like really innovated her, it's really sparked her up, and she wants to pass that on to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've lost my question now.
She wrote me today.
Thread. Yeah.
She actually texted and said, she's around traveling with her mom around Mexico. She said, but my heart is still there with you guys. I think something she really felt that, oh my God, I've worked with Vice for 9 years, built this huge company, and I couldn't stay anymore because of the bottom line and the profit motive. And she sees that everything we're doing is so about extending and giving and not really looking for rewards. She's like, that's what I want to line up with. And I mean, I don't know if she'd say this, but I think she realizes that she's got a lot of ideas that she doesn't want to let even her past conditioning about those ideas lead the way. She wants to give them over to the Spirit. And that's how the Spirit works. Vast amount of skills. And us who, I was going to say don't have skills, but we have like the pure Holy Spirit motive underneath, but there is actually a vast amount of skills amongst us. But you take that pure desire for content and the skills and put them together, and whatever ego motive is underneath those skills will be washed.
Can be washed.
Washed away.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess there's a feeling inside of me, you know, to because I'm thinking of David's book, you know, that's for the newcomer. You know, I think it's coming out in October, is it this year?
Oh, February, yeah.
February next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to bring in a whole new audience.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's like, once people are excited, interested, want to come into Living Miracles, it's like the course is very, very deep. And it's like, I get the sense that this is bridging the gap in. Yeah, there needs to be like a bridge somehow, you know, from the person that reads a book for the first time, gets sparked, looks at the course and goes, oh my word, you know, like, so all of these changes, it feels like, is a way of bridging that gap.
I think function, meaning specific tasks in form to support forgiveness, is a bridge into that. That is what Living Miracles, that's what the Course offers, is that other non-dual paths don't. Is non-dual paths, you know, will offer something like who is the I? You know, I've seen people write things like, who is the I that Skypes, or who is the I that's living in this world? But that's a very rare path. And most of the population, 99%, so to speak, needs a slowly evolving path where they can do this, and the Holy Spirit puts them in positions where they can almost look back and be like, wow, how did I let that go? I don't even know how that happened. It just happened. And And for me, this whole journey with this new direction is really inspiring, because even this interview, because I was telling the Spirit, I don't have, like, for past 10 or 15 years, there's been this huge drive. Okay, let's do this. Let's build Moodle. And it's been so inspiring, and this force underneath, but that force is gone. You know, I don't have that anymore to drive anything. So it's like, okay, if this is going to happen, you're going to have to send people that still have that.
Yeah.
And I can join with them, collaborate, work with them, watch, just kind of nudge in a little direction. So when you say you want to do this interview about this whole new direction, I'm like, okay, great. I can say yes to that. And you were telling me just before the show, you're feeling all this energy, and I felt it was just because Jesus was activating you in this direction, and you felt the intensity.
It felt very intense, because it feels like it's a whole new direction for this particular show as well. It's like, and it feels so huge underneath, really huge. And it's like, how do I contain how I'm feeling? How do I ask the questions that actually gets the information out that I can feel, you know, I'm inspired by. So it's like, yeah, so it's kind of over to you, Jason, to do the rest. It's like, I just feel it, and I feel it's, yeah, it can open up so much for so many. I mean, for me, it was watching David's long videos, but that's not always the direction for a lot of people. They can't sit for hours and watch, you know, David, as I did. So this feels, really good for that. I don't know if you've got any parables that you want to share, or I don't know where we're going now with this show.
Well, the one that came to my mind, I think talked a bit about yesterday, was Andre's parable. I think Andre is even on there.
Is he?
There he is. Hey, Andre.
Oh, hi, Andre. Thank you so much for the videos. Amazing.
Because, Andre, he was with us a few years ago, and he helped build that site, I think the paid video membership site. And we had all these ideas, but then he shared that he went through some fear when he was making it, because I think Chris Everts was working with him and saying, okay, here's a deadline and we need to collaborate by this point. And he was like, because we had a call about this afterwards, he said, deadlines, planning, what? How is this related to A Course in Miracles? And it was just kind of like, okay, this isn't for me, and kind of left the project. And we gave it over to Yuta, and Yuta finished in a slightly different format. But then Andrea and I had this beautiful talk, and I don't know, maybe a month ago, and we just went into those ideas, how the Spirit, you know, we all resonate with that line from A Course in Miracles. A healed mind does not plan. But a lot of Course students, well, great, they'll just end it right there. That's it. I'm out. You know, no more planning. Great. But the second part is just as important, is it waits to receive the plans that are not its own. But there's so much fear in the mind about those specifics, that it's going to totally unravel my life and what those plans are, that it can just block specific guidance, as if it's all ego planning. But the Spirit, like we were talking about, reaches the mind where it believes it's at. So I don't know, I think he could probably nod his head if there's an agreement, but we both felt a resonance that there is that there was another step there, and I think he felt a relief at that and said, okay, I'm in. And he filled out his volunteer application and just said, I'm going to go for it. And he had no idea how, and he started with remote volunteering for a few months, and we were all so impressed with his videos that just in the last 2 days, I can tell you, we've had Skype calls with him. We've bought his flight over from Romania, which I can tell you is an extremely rare thing. We've given him 6 months scholarship, and it's like, okay, the Spirit has met this huge desire. And I don't know if this is your show, so I don't know if you want him to say anything, but I don't know if you ever expected this would be an answer to accepting the Holy Spirit's plans.
Yeah, I'm really open to you sharing something, Andre, if you'd like to. If we can get you on. Okay, yay.
I don't know if we can
I
hear
don't
him.
think we've got volume. Oh, okay.
1 second.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Hey guys.
Hi, Andre.
Hey. I knew this was going to happen. Andy said.
I did.
Answers I did.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I don't have too much to say. I mean, words are a bit clunky to express what I'm going through. But it's pretty wild. And this is what I've been asking for, so I received it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm going along with it. I'm just dancing the best of my abilities. Because I was talking with Andy a couple of days ago and I actually had some serious ego backlashes. I mean, immediately after you guys mentioned that you want me there, I just immediately went into a panic and it was pretty wild. But I'm fine now, thanks to I survived. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in person.
Yeah. But what we appreciated about like Andre with his application was he spent a 5-minute video on it, and he laid out all his thoughts, and he wasn't focusing on his skills. I mean, he had a huge list of skills, but this was my fears. This is what was difficult for me. This is where I am now. And almost like I lay myself on the altar of Christ, like whatever you want to do with this. And we're doing a lot with it, you know, it's like, yeah. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, we've just got a couple of minutes left, Jason. So is there anything else that you'd like to add? Is there something that needs to be said before we finish?
Well, it's nice to see all you guys, and I'm Helen and Willow. I'm just excited that if someone like Andre, who was in Romania and felt, you know, I don't know how to get out of this life situation that I'm in, can be, and even the idea of planning, not know how to get past that block, can just say I'm willing, and the Spirit works through that. It works through financial concerns, distance, and time. That really we can just celebrate that any of us can make our next leap and dive into the unknown.
Yeah.
So.
It's a beautiful miracle to end the show with. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching us, and I'm going to hand it over to Kristen and Susan. Thank you
Love
so
you
much,
guys.
Jason.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that's wonderful. I had heard that the show would be focused on this new direction, and I've been very involved in it too, and just feeling really lit up by it as well. And so I'm just really excited to hear you guys share about it and meet you, Andre. And I have this line in my mind from the Course that's, it cannot be difficult to do the task that Christ has appointed you to do, because it is He who does it. I hope that's correct. And I just feel like because projects are one of the main ways, as you were saying, Jason, like as a bridge, they're so practical. We work with everything in the context of our projects, you know, just where our mind is at. They're fantastic for mind watching and flushing and stepping into strength and communication and you name it. So I just feel like this is a fantastic opportunity, and I feel really excited to work with you guys. I'm looking at the screen and I see Julie will be connecting soon. Mary, we had a call the other day. Just like a number of you guys have already put out this call that says, I want to serve. And that's really all that you need to show up with. The skills are fantastic and they'll be directed. And even that prayer will be directed. So I will direct you to our I'll direct you to our remote volunteer form as a really great first step. And that is at livingmiracles.org/volunteer. Very, very easy. And there's a really sweet video there all about, you'll see Eric and some other volunteers that had been here just in their joy with these projects. And then if you scroll a little farther down, there's a remote volunteer application where you can fill out your skills and your inspiration, and we'll contact you and just talk about this, because it feels huge. And as Jason's saying, it's, you know, this huge shift in direction. It's like turning the boat. So we're all just really watching as well to see how this is going to unfold, and really inspired to do it alongside you. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that too, is when I watched Andre's videos and just felt so much heart in them, watching them, and just was more like, there's a feeling right now of the lid is being taken off of something now. So now it's like the spirit can come in even more. So there's more of a call for everyone. Okay, so I think we're going to pause for a break, about 15 minutes, and resume. And let's see here with the Song of Prayer with Emily in a little while.
She's just returned from a trip to Canada. That was really inspiring. And yeah, I just encourage you all to stay tuned. She's going to share all about it.
This video, we're going to show you how to wake up with movies using MWGE. What we know about the mind is that it doesn't differentiate between the emotions it experiences while watching a movie and the emotions it experiences in day-to-day life. And that's how we're able to heal our mind with movies. You first want to pick a movie to watch that supports your spiritual awakening. You can do that using the Emotion Theme Index located under the Reviews drop-down menu. All of the movie reviews on MWGE are indexed by the emotions and main healing themes in the movie. At the top of the index page, we see the 8 main index categories of reviews. I have a block that I'm ready to remove from my life. I click on that category and I'm shown all of the block's topics. My issue is that I feel like a victim of the world, and I'm ready to heal that belief. I click on victimization and I'm shown all of the reviews that have victimization as one of the healing topics covered in that movie. At this point, I'm able to browse through the movie reviews. I'm feeling a resonance with the movie Black Swan, so I first want to obtain the movie from a streaming video or DVD rental service. I also want to download the mind tools for use during the movie. I can find the mind tools under the Getting Started drop-down menu. When I'm ready to watch the movie, I'll read the review first. This helps me to stay focused on the movie's healing themes rather than getting lost in the storyline.
Attack it! Come on!
While watching Black Swan, I notice upsetting emotions come up when I see the main character Nina hurting herself. The upset is my cue to pause the movie and fill out a mind tool. If I can fill out a worksheet when I'm feeling the upset, I have a much better chance of getting it off the perceptual screen where I'm in reaction mode and back into my mind where I can look at what the upsetting emotions are, what the upsetting thoughts are, and what the underlying beliefs are. Beneath all that is the desire to have something different than it is. If I can get down to that place in my mind where I can see that I'm desiring something other than peace, then I can choose again. And the miracle is that I can call upon Spirit to help me make that choice for present peace. The Instrument for Peace is another downloadable worksheet that takes you step by step through the process of clearing upsetting emotions. It's especially helpful if you have difficulty or feel resistance moving through any level of the mind when taking an upset back. While filling out a worksheet, you may also uncover other limiting beliefs, so you'll want to fill out as many worksheets as necessary until you feel complete. The power of using these mind tools with the movie reviews on MWGE is that it saves time in the awakening process. Rather than playing out painful dramas in your life, you can simply let the characters on the screen do it for you. With all of the subscription plans, you get the written movie reviews and the mind tools. With the ProPop subscription, you also get audio and video setups with many of the movie reviews so that you can go even deeper into the healing themes. With the MasterPop subscription, you also get our library of streaming metaphysical movie classics with commentary, as well as hundreds of clips highlighting the key healing scenes in movies. If you're ready to add some fun to your spiritual practice, subscribe by going to mwge.org. MWGE is movie watching with a purpose.
It's so far beyond the personal. And yet, while you believe in the personal and you're opening your heart to this vast love, the words and the symbols can reach your heart in helpful ways. There's really nothing but just beautiful, pure simplicity that's always just what is. The truth is simple. The present moment is simple. While you still have connotations and meaning and interpretations around it, then words like scarcity and lack and funds and so on and so forth, it's really being in the gratitude so fully that everything else just fades from awareness. A lot of times people think of spirituality or spiritual journey as like be happy, and you can't consistently be happy until you get in touch with what's unhappy.
I was fascinated that I knew like the masters could understand everybody no matter what language they were speaking, and that if it was an infinite symphony, you could always understand each other, no matter whether you're speaking Chinese, right? If you were in the infinite symphony, because it's a symphony of harmony, it's a harmonious collaboration where everyone understands each other, we're all perfectly equal, right? So this is like the musical form of language disconnecting, time and space gone away, continental reconnection, no more split, no more race, right? Like bees love a swarming, feel the sound, you can't delay. At ease, it's all around you, it's in and out, at last release, at last released. Okay? So it's like that whole vibration of being released into the infinite symphony and not having to struggle to commune, right? Whether it's a language barrier, energy barrier, no barriers, right? I was studying the music of the spheres at the time, and I was thinking of how the masters like Beethoven and all those cats, what must they have been experiencing? I'm not a musician. When I first started to hear it, I didn't know how to play guitar or sing or anything. I just taught myself everything. A lot of the times I don't have any idea what I'm playing. So, but I would contemplate these things, So this is what it sounded like to me, right?
uninhibited. And all we are is love. You can never be dispirited. No, you can never be alone. The act of love in this place is to see this for yourself. 'Cause only when you're seeing this way can you offer real help. Shifting is automatic, subtle to the core. Being looks emphatically into itself, producing joy. So offer it to yourself, therefore, singing in silent harmony, ever expanding awareness into an infinite symphony.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. What we have next is the Song of Prayer with Emily.
Hi. Yeah, great to be here with you all. Yeah, as Kristen just mentioned, I literally just flew back in from, hey Helena. I literally just flew in from Canada last night. I was there for about 10 days, staying with my friends, Stan and Sue. I'm not sure if they're on here today, but I just had this amazing miracle trip. It was so expansive for my mind in so many ways, mainly with just opening up with music, but it felt like it went so far beyond that. And yeah, while I was with Stan, he has a recording studio up there. We recorded 3 songs and just had this beautiful collaboration. And today I would love to just share some of those songs with you. But before we do that, I really wanted to play a clip from Britain's Got Talent. I love Britain's Got Talent and X Factor and all of those shows, because sometimes these people just come on the show and it's like they just blow you away. Like something comes through them that is so unexpected and it's really beyond them. And the clip that I want to share today is Paul Potts. Many of you probably know him from the movie One Chance. There was a movie made about his life. And really, his whole path from walking from this deep unworthiness that he had around his voice and this littleness and doubt, to stepping through all of these prompts that the Spirit was giving to him, to finally coming on to the show Britain's Got Talent and just blowing everyone away. And yeah, when I watch this video, I feel emotional with it, because I feel like something just wants to burst in my heart. And it's really not personal. It's, yeah, just about fully stepping in. So Nicholas, I think you have the video there if you wanna roll it.
Showbiz seems a million miles away.
It's Paul, a mobile phone salesman from South Wales.
By day, I sell mobile phones. My dream is to spend my life doing what I feel that I was born to do.
Paul, what are you here for today, Paul?
To sing opera. I've always wanted to sing as a career. Confidence has always been sort of like a difficult thing for me. I've always found it a little bit difficult to be completely confident in myself.
Okay, ready when you are. So you work at Car Phone Warehouse, and you did that. I wasn't expecting that.
No, neither was I.
This was a complete breath of fresh air. I thought you were absolutely fantastic.
You have an incredible voice. I think if you keep singing like that, you are going to be one of the favourites to win this whole competition.
I think that we've got a case of a little lump of coal here that is going to turn into a diamond.
Okay, moment of truth, young man. Here's.
Absolutely yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Paul? You are through to the next round.
Congratulations.
Unbelievable. I had those pimples.
You must be over the moon.
I am. A bit shocked at the moment. Oh, yeah.
And as Paul heads home happy, the judges think they might have found something special in Cardiff.
I like shows where somebody isn't a professional, has a talent, isn't aware of it, has a normal job, and then you see something else. I like that. And that's what that guy had.
Undiscovered little gem.
Yeah.
A frog that will turn into a prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I watch that clip, I just feel something, and it really touches my heart. And it's really not about, like, I think I'm attracted to it as well because it's opera and I relate to that, but it's so far beyond that. It's nothing to do with opera or singing or anything. But for me, what touches me in that video is him stepping into his function, like his calling. You know, he has this gift, and for so many years he has held back and not shared it. And when he sings in front of everyone, where I really feel my heart explodes is when everyone starts cheering him and they stand up and they cheer him. And it's just this experience of it's not personal. Like when one of us takes our step, everybody who witnesses that is blessed in the same way. And when they all cheer, it's like minds are joined. And there's nothing else but that. And it's just so inspiring. So yeah, I just wanted to start the show off today with that, just to open everybody's hearts, open my heart. And yeah, just to share a little bit about my trip to Canada. The inspiration with me going to visit Stan and Sue was that the prompt has been coming in for a while for me to write an opera song. And, you know, I pushed it away for quite a while, thinking, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. But actually, there's an acceptance that's come into my mind with opening up to, well, maybe this is what the Spirit is guiding me to do. Maybe this is where my expansion is. And so Stan so generously invited me to come and stay with him and work with him in his recording studio and collaborate. And yeah, I went ahead and booked my flights about a month before I left. And so in my mind, I had this full month to write my opera piece, and then I would go for the week with Stan and I would record it. And that was Emily's plan. And so the whole month leading up to it, and I think I shared a bit on previous shows, that it didn't really work out that way. You know, a lot of miracles happened, but actually having a piece of music that I was ready to go and record, it didn't materialize. And when I left, I had some other songs that I wanted recorded, but with the opera song, I really had nothing. And so I was just praying to the Spirit to reveal to me what this trip was, because it was very clear to me that it was guided and it was supported by everyone, actually. So I arrived in Canada, and the first few days we recorded a few other pieces, but I think day 3 or 4, I was just sitting at the keyboard and just started to play like a very simple pattern on the keyboard, and this melody started to come into my mind and some lyrics. And it was literally within about 10 minutes, the beginnings of this song kind of came into my awareness. And I played it for Stan, and he really loved it. He felt it. So we just decided to move forward with this song and see what would happen with it. And yeah, it was such an amazing experience for me, because we would I would have these moments where I would think, wow, there's so far to go with this. There's so much that we still need to do for this song to be complete, and we only have a few days. Or the vocals that were recorded, that wasn't it. Or, you know, it just felt like a goal out of reach. And at one point this happened, and I just prayed, and I said to the Spirit, I know that I have a lot of limiting beliefs around music and what's possible or what my capabilities are. I just really want to hand them over, and I want you to show me what this is all about. And I had this amazing experience where, I don't know what happened, but within half an hour, we put two vocal lines together that hadn't even been intended to go together. You know, they've been recorded separately, and added in another instrument into the orchestration. And there was this feeling like the song was done, like it was complete. And it was like this quantum experience of time collapsing, and really seeing that, I think the whole thing for me in this is letting go of the idea that I'm personally doing it. My only job is to follow the prompts and show up. And then when I start to get stressed around it, or have the thoughts of like, oh, it's not possible, that's the moment of surrender. That's the moment of, I don't know what I'm doing. And then the miracle can come in. And it was so beautiful with Stan, because, you know, he would suggest one small little thing, and we would try it, and it would like change the whole song. And then from that, another idea would come from me. And it wasn't just with this song, it was with all the songs that we recorded. And it was just this beautiful experience of seeing that it can be just very effortless and joyful. And when it's not flowing that way, when it feels like, some things just aren't working, it was just a prompt to stop, like go for a walk, go out for the day. It's like, even if there's an idea of a future goal, something needs to get completed. It can be a total barrier to the inspiration that wants to come in the moment. So some days we would just say, okay, we're done for today, and then come back fresh the next day, and having let go of the day before, and then something miraculous would come in again. And it was really beautiful. Even one day I had the thought that I wanted to re-record the vocal line, the lyrics, and I tried to record it, and it's like my voice was going hoarse, and then the microphone broke. It was like clicking, and Stan was like, that's never happened before. It's like, okay, well, let's not put all this mind energy into trying to fix the technology. Let's just trust that this is the Spirit's prompt, that it's not needed. And so we didn't record the vocals and re-record them, and we just used what we had. And for me, it was a letting go of perfectionism, a letting go of what I think needed to happen, and just trusting this vibrancy, or this feeling of, I just want to feel like the Spirit is flowing through me in every moment, in everything that I do. And this backdrop of singing has been given to me to really come into that. So I was thinking that I would love to sing the song for you that we wrote. And I have a backing track. I'm going to sing the vocal along with the backing track. We don't have the ideal situation here for playing a backing track and voice, but I want to go with what's in my heart and what I feel to share. It's not a very dramatic opera piece. It's actually quite slow and soft, and it's more like a meditation piece. So I'm a little nervous, but I think I'm just going to go for it. It's called Truth Be Revealed. yeah, I just, I feel in that song like very exposed and kind of naked. And yeah, I just feel like where it sits in the voice, it's exposed and yeah, just like there's obviously still a healing with thinking that I'm writing something, because it's both sides, either like wanting it to be good and thinking that's me, or thinking it's bad and thinking that's me. And I feel like I really want to hand that over and let it go, because you know, with that song, like I feel something when I sing it, but then I'll listen to it or I'll think about it and I'm like, oh, but it's not good. Or, and then one moment I'll feel it, one moment I won't. And it's like I can't look to external sources to even validate what I'm doing. And I just feel like I have to stay in that space of feeling a connection. And then if that's felt by others, that's beautiful. And if not, well, then I can't have that my focus. The focus has to be my connection with the spirit and just trusting that. So it's a very good lesson for me in letting go of judgment. And I think that that's why I have pushed singing and music away for so long, because there's this voice that comes in and it's being healed. I feel like it is being healed through this process, but that's what needs to be faced. Well, I don't feel like I have a lot more to say, but maybe I could sing another song. So on my last show, I sang the dance piece. I think it was my last show, dance piece with the opera. So I'm going to do that again, but it now has some lyrics, one line of lyrics that are repeated throughout. And yeah, some backing vocals. So I'm getting the 5-minute mark. So I think I should get straight into it because I'm not quite sure how long it is. I think it's less than 5 minutes anyway. Prayer of your heart. It's now called the Prayer of Your Heart.
Sing the prayer of your heart. Sing
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. See you in a few weeks. Oh, I'm looking at the screen. I should be looking at the camera. See you in a few weeks. Love you.
Yeah, Kristen just asked me if I had anything to share, and I said, well, my heart's racing. So there's something really deep coming up right now, and I don't know what it is. And just thank you, Emily. That was beautiful. I loved all of it. I really strong emotions with the Paul Potts video, something about no matter what the ego tells us we are, or how small we think the ego tells us we are something, it's wrong. It's just such a dramatic example or something of that. So yeah, I'm just really grateful.
That was amazing. I don't really have anything other than that. It's just so beautiful. I just always appreciate the demonstration of really going for it, stepping into strength. And like, there's something that's so, I loved the word you used, naked, about it. It's, I'm going to botch the words here. The voice in full strength, like, yeah, there's something defenseless about it, the undefended, that just feels very, very pure and very inspiring. And yeah, inspires just deep emotion whenever I see it. So. I feel like that just needs a minute. So I'm going to take one. Just really take all that in. Yeah, once again, thank you so much, Emily, for sharing your miracle story, your parables, and your journey walking through all of this, as you said, with Paul Potts, the fear and the unworthiness towards your calling, be it music or anything else. So it's beautiful. And I feel like this is almost cheap in my mind to cheapen it with words of what's coming next, but I do feel like I want to share with you about the next show coming up, and also that there's another opportunity to join in with us virtually later today. So at 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time, David will be holding, or will be involved in a free live online gathering, which you can find on Facebook, will be streamed on Facebook. And if you're interested in more details about that, the Facebook page to join in with, go to our event page. That's livingmiracles.org/events. It's the very first event there. It's got Portuguese translation, which really offers a nice opportunity to, after each pause where the translation is happening, you just sink in with the message. So that will be an hour-and-a-half gathering today, again, starting at 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And join us. Join us. So up next is The Last Step with Jeffrey, and Frank will be beamed in, I think, from France. Yeah, just stay with us. We'll see you soon.
For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love, be the witness in the silences when words are not enough. With every breath I take, I will give thanks to God above. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love.
The biggest block for really allowing your voice to come out is trying to sound good and trying to sing. So when I sing now, and when I lead groups or I do one-on-one singing sessions with people, I really try as much as I can to get them to step out of the idea that they need to sound good, or they they need to perform and actually get in touch with something that's deeper.
The best thing in this exercise is to not delay, because when you don't even know the cushion's coming towards you, you see it coming towards you and you hear a note, as much as you can just sing the note without any thought process, because I can tell you that thoughts are what blocks the voice coming out. So we want to minimize any thinking. We want to just keep
the choir. I will refer to that a lot, where I just ask people to whether it's to close their eyes or just to really get in touch with the sound that wants to come out, and let that feeling lead the way, as opposed to any kind of judgment on how anything sounds. So when we're singing as a group together, if everybody can even just tune into the one sound that's being created by the whole group singing together, it takes the focus off the personal self that, you know, is trying to do it. Actually singing it's like a metaphor even for A Course in Miracles, because the Course is a pathway in letting go of the blocks to love's awareness. You know, love is not something that we are taught or that we learn. It's who we are, and there's all of these blocks and beliefs that are in the way. So the path of the Course is to see all of those blocks and let them go, so we can get in touch with who we truly are. And I see the voice as being the same thing. We're all born with this natural voice. Everybody has a voice. So it's not about learning to sing. It's a process of unlearning. It's letting go of all the ways we try and control the voice, everything we try to do to create the sound, fully letting go of that, and then letting this pure sound just flow through. And there's really nothing that we need to do in that. It's something that just happens by itself. Yeah, that's the kind of feeling we're going for in everything that we're singing, just this really, really intimate sound. Whether it's a really upbeat piece and it's loud and we're dancing, or whether it's like a very prayerful song, it's like you still want to have that intimate, connected feeling throughout. I feel like something else is doing it. The spirit is doing it. It's kind of, I don't have to work anything out. I hear a thought, or I feel an energy, or something is just happening, and I'm just allowing it to move through, and it is so joyful. And the experience is that at the end of it, I'm more energized. It doesn't take anything from me. It just gives to me over and over. So that's not just in music and in singing. That's how, you know, I live my life, and I feel like everybody in this community lives their life, or at least we're practicing to live in that way. And singing is just a great way for me to practice.
As long as I shall live, I will testify to love, be the witness in the silences when words are not enough. With every breath I take, I will give thanks to God above. For as long as I shall live, I will testify.
When you start to think more quantum with everything, your mind is going to expand so much faster, and the problems you think you had can vanish just through insights in your mind. Just through your mind recognizing itself more and more, you will watch problems start to dissolve, and just like they're like melted butter dripping off the table, you just roll off. Thing you've been struggling with for years rolls off the table and it's gone. Just because of your spiritual experience can take you that far, just from that insight. We're going for that flesh, that expansive, oh my gosh, my problems aren't what I thought they were at all. Wow. You know, it's a wow, it's an aha, it's a wow experience in your mind. That's what spiritual awakening is all about.
I think that when I'm here, I'm reminded of what this journey is really all about, which is the emptying out of my mind and the surrender to the profound stillness that is my natural state. I think that in most parts of the world where there's lots of activity and cities and lots of people, you know, it's easy to forget. It's like the ego made all of that as a distraction against the truth. And when you're in a place like this, which is just absolutely, you know, stunning in terms of its beauty and the stillness, then it reminds you of the peace and the stillness that's within yourself. It reminds me of what is truly valuable. And that's what this place is so helpful for. It invites the mind to rest, to drop way down deep into the stillness that is available. I'm just very grateful that this place exists, seemingly within the dream, as a symbol of the stillness and the reverence and the devotion. I think I've always been attracted to monasteries, but you know, this is the one monastery I feel in the world that is completely devoted to the non-dualistic truth that is shared by Jesus in A Course in Miracles. And it's quite a gift.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have Jeffrey up next with Frank for the last step. Welcome both.
And before we head over there, stay tuned a little after the show for an online gathering with David at 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Had to throw that in there. Okay, over to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome. And there's Frank. Frank is joining us from Santa Barbara today for the last step. Actually, looks like you're still in Mexico with the decor in your house there, Frank. But
it's all one place.
Looks like Casa Quantico. Yeah, it's good to have you, and it's good to see the rest of you guys up there. Saw Helena and Patrick and Luce, and yeah, it's really good to feel connected with you all. So yeah, today we wanted to talk about a few things. The last time we were on, we talked about the fourth step, that you know, we both came from 12-step recovery to A Course in Miracles, and that's kind of what the show is about. You know, how we can live in this constant state of joy, the miracle. You know, and in 12-step they call it the fourth dimension. And it was funny, last night I was praying, and I remember the story of a guy who he had like 27 years of recovery, and came up to me in the room. He's like, "Man, you're awful happy." And this was a couple of years, 3 years ago. And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, how long you've been, you know, sober?" And I said, "For a couple of years." And he said, "Oh, give it a couple more years. You'll come back to reality." And I was like, "God, I hope not." Like, God, I really hope not. So that was kind of the inspiration around the show, was to share some of the experiences we've had through the 12 steps and still use them actually in our everyday lives, and you know, how they relate to the Course and so forth. So I was reading I was kind of praying, and sometimes I'll just go through the index and look at the titles and just wait for a section title to hit me. And I was looking through, and the way to remember God in chapter 12, really struck me. And so I read it, and once I get a section like that, I'll read it for a few days. And the very last paragraph was really great for me. And basically these few lines, and it says, we are therefore embarking on an organized, well-structured, and carefully planned program aimed at learning how to offer to the Holy Spirit everything you do not want. He knows what to do with it. You do not understand how to use what he knows. Whatever is given him that is not of God is gone. And when I read that, I was like, certainly the word program, shot out to me, because coming from a 12-step and not really associating with any particular one anymore, we always call it the program. And it was always like, hey, are you working a good program? Are you actually living the steps in your life? Are you practicing the principles in all your affairs? And to think, like, when I read this, it was like, this is actually what we're doing. Even the Course in Miracles is a program for us to practice this offering, because we want to hold on, or I want to hold on to these things in the practice of, letting them go. And last week, or whatever, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now, we talked about the 4th step, which is the spiritual principle is courage, to look within. And it says we took, it calls it a moral and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, looking at the things we think we've done wrong and so forth. And when I read this, and, I actually didn't get to join with Frank too much, but we talked a bit, and I said, it makes sense to actually move into the next couple of steps. And when I did them originally, the 5th step is actually admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. Again, they use the word wrongs here, but when we're in Course in Miracles terms, we don't want to get caught up with the terminology, because at where the mind's at, we actually think we're doing things wrong, or think all the things that we've done in the wreckage of our past are actually things that are wrong. And I remember when I actually did that step, it was the first, and in the book, the 12-step book, it actually talks about, this is the first experience we'll have of, God, a sense of belonging after we unleash all of these secrets, really. We've had this, basically our practice, our habit was keeping everything locked down and not sharing anything. And, there's a good metaphor I'll share, which I'll explain the other couple of steps at this, this little process when it says here, carefully planned program aimed at learning how to offer to the Holy Spirit everything I do not want. And so after we do the 5th step, immediately, like, we have this full, and part of the book actually says to share your whole life story. And it's really more to see the patterns and things, but certain things, the one question that everyone asks is, what would you not want to tell me? What would you take to your grave? And we start there. And then we see, what else comes out. After that is the 6th step, which is, we were entirely ready to have him remove all our defects of character. Again, let's not get caught up with the words defects of character. But the spiritual principle of that step is willingness. And it's just a matter of, I'm willing to let go of all these things that I actually held. These are the protections, the defenses, all the things that I've used to keep in place to hold this darkness, this self-concept, whatever, in place. And then we have the 7th step, which is the spiritual principle is humility. And we're entirely ready to have him remove all of our shortcomings. You can see the words are actually changing. It goes from wrongs to character defects to shortcomings. And then eventually the book actually starts talking about mistakes. So we can actually correct, there are errors that we can correct, as we know, studying the Course in Miracles. So those 3 steps are a huge part. They actually write books just about 6 and 7, because there are only 2 paragraphs in the 12-step book that I went through. And there's so much to it. There's so much to this process of actually letting go of this, because we're finding value in it somewhere. So I have to actually, because for me, letting go of certain ones that actually affected my life was easy. But when it was the things that didn't really glaringly affect my life, they were affecting my mind, I had to look deeper to let those things go. And there's this metaphor that they, that someone uses at one of the groups I used to go to. And it was like, so in the 4th step, we actually go into our house and we actually look at all the dirty secrets, and we have to go all the way down into the basement, all the things that we left down there from childhood, all these resentments, fears, sexual misconducts, or things that we think we've done wrong. And we actually have to look at them ourselves and put them on paper in that step. And the 5th step, which we're talking about today, is we bring someone else into our house. We bring someone else in and show them all this stuff and say, hey, look at what I've been living with for this long. And then the sixth step is actually, we call the garbage man to bring a dumpster over to our house. So the willingness to take these things and actually throw them out in the dumpster. I loved when the guy used to say this. And this is just a willingness step. We're actually not doing anything here. It's like we put them out there, and then it's actually the seventh step. We were entirely ready. So now we call and say, okay, you can pick this up. You can take it. Actually offering it to Spirit to take it away. Because I can be ready, think I'm ready, leave it out in the garage or out in the dumpster, and then 3 days later go back and take one of these resentments back and bring it back into my house, you know? So this is the practice, you know, and I love how it says in this section that it was we have a carefully planned program aimed at learning. I have to learn how to do this because it's not natural to me. I have to learn how to, first of all, look within and see what it is, share it with another person, God and another human being. It's the practice of exposing. That's actually what we do here in community. You know, we do this very rapidly. You know, things come up and it's like we have expression sessions and we share it, then we offer it, and we call it altar sessions. You saw, if you were on earlier, you saw Calico's show where she did body shaming around the pool. It was really beautiful. It's like offering up all these things that we're holding on to and then offering to Spirit to take them away. So anyway, that's kind of the steps I wanted to talk about, and I have a few stories around it, but I wanted to hear from Frank in Santa Barbara. Looking good up there, Frank.
So yeah, I you know, it's a good thing you know, it says in that text also, he knows what to do with it, because I think a lot of the mistake with the program is that, you know, there's so much guilt and there's so much you know, you hear things like, you know, there's like a saying, it says, you don't have to change anything, but you have to change it also. You just have to change everything about yourself. And that really, you know, the way it's said, and you know, you've been there, it can be kind of a little bit condescending, and it takes, you know, it can bring up guilt. But really, I don't have to change anything in the sense that it says there. You know, I just have to offer it. And then there's that sentence, he knows what to do with it. And, you know, you were talking about, you know, the program and working the program. You hear that word a lot. And for me, for the longest time, I thought working the program means to now be good, you know, and to not do these things. And to, you know, so there's this, you know, misconception I had for years that I have to, you know, now I expose my character defects, now I got to change it. Now I have to fight them. You know, now I really have to be good, you know, and you hear it sometimes, people share, you know, I'm sick of this program, I'm sick of being good, and say, no, that's not what you have to do. So it's much more subtle. We just need to expose it, and then have the willingness to allow it to be removed, you know, and do nothing. And it's something, you know, David, when I came to Mexico, one of the first things he said, you don't have to do anything, you just need to show up. You know, you need to show up. And by showing up, I heal. See, and the healing takes care of it. But the healing has to really be in step 11, in the conscious contact. It's just the humility in 6 and 7, and the willingness. Those are the keys, you know. We let people, like you say, we let people in the house, and we let them see it. And it's great in you know, in 12-step, because nobody's shocked about anything anybody has done, because we've seen it all, you know. And so I feel it's the same, you know, in the, you know, in the community, that when I bring up stuff, well, yeah, you know, it's just what it is. So that shame goes away very fast once it's exposed. But the important thing is that, you know, I have to have the trust that it will be removed, and it will be removed in the time that it's supposed to be renewed. And that's why I really like this sentence where it says, he knows what to do with it. I don't have to get rid of it myself. And I can't, for me, because of my experience, I can't emphasize that enough, because I tried to fight these things, these impulses like anger. I mean, try to fight anger. It does not work. It's just going to come back worse, I always talk about the spring, holding the spring. No, I can't get angry. Imagine what that does. It's like, and then I just explode. So that's, I always say in Costa, people say it's an action program. And it is to a point, but that can be misunderstood, Action, because you come in and, we're lost, so they tell us, put the toothpaste, the toothpaste cap, make your bed and all these things. And action, be of service. And then there comes the action, do nothing, And that's the hardest action you can ask, somebody with an addiction to have. It's just, and let the healing, let the healing take place, and trust that it will happen. And I cannot trust something I don't know. So, when it talks about higher power and God, and, so, well, I had to get to the point, this is not an entity that's outside of me that I'm praying to from down here, and it's gonna, I have to make that contact. And it's always linked to step 11 for me. I have to make that contact. Because if I don't, I can't. I need to have that trust to allow this to happen.
Absolutely. You say that line of, he knows what to do with it. And it's funny, there's this other, I forget, I had heard this somewhere too. And it's even this idea of, trying to control the healing, because I tried it, and it was torture, at the beginning. It's funny, we have a mighty companion that's here now that just recently came and facing a bunch of intensity. And when I think about this part of it, it's this actual, I heard this analogy or metaphor in a room as well. And it was like, so we've been driving the car our whole life and just throwing the garbage in the back, like everything that we've been going through, we just throw it in the back of the car. And then when we come to this point of we're ready to question or heal, we slam the brakes, and all that stuff comes rushing up to the front of the car. And it's like, it's overwhelming. It's like we're in touch with this deep, separation, all this stuff. And it's like, I've done so much wrong. And it's like, it's so fearful at that point, where it's like what you're saying is, with this, he knows what to do with it. It's actually not even hitting the brakes. It's like letting him take the wheel and just finally just stepping aside, and the stuff, he'll just slow the car down very slowly, and the things will come up. And as they come up, then I can face them, and not really into littering, but throw them out the window and, start facing those things as they come up. I can't control it, And it's funny because those two little paragraphs, it's funny, the last one of step 6 says, if we still cling to something we will not let go of, we ask God to help us be willing, because it's really not us. We just have to ask for that willingness. And what I love is there's a 7-step prayer in the 12-step book that I read, and it's my Creator. It's right here. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I mean, the prayer in the book actually says that. So it starts at step 7. We start to move away from this idea of wrongs to any of these things. It's like, I give you everything, good and bad. I am now willing that you shall have all of me. I pray that you now remove from me every single defective character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. This is nothing more than, what would you have me do prayer over and over. And when I have these jealousies or angers or all these fears or resentments, when I have those blocking my way, I can't be useful. So that's always why our prayer is in every moment, how can I be useful? Because that takes me out of self, and it takes me towards this process of healing that we talked about in the way to remember God.
Yeah, and it just requires willingness, willingness and trust, and so the way it works when I'm with the community, and now I'm not. Now I'm out in the big wild world, and it's it's like mind training. It's the mind training, because once I started really looking, I've done I've been in the cross-steps for 34 years now, and I've done a lot of the work, but the work that I'm doing now, it goes a lot deeper. And it's interesting because it's not, okay, sit down and look at your, even though it says in the course, you have to go down, you have to go in there and look at it, bring it up. Jesus says in the course, don't ask me to take your fears away. Just like that. And I was, for a long time, I just said, okay, take it. Why are you not taking it? Why are you not taking it? This is not working. This is not working. The prayer is not answered. But I didn't realize how much I still had to expose, and how much I was still hanging on to. Because it cannot be removed if I still want it. That's just the nature, that's the spiritual nature of the thing. He will not take something I don't want to give, because that would be interfering with my will. So I have to really be honest. What do I want? And the course also says, everything you're seeing and experiencing is because you want it. And so going deep down in there, seeing, and stirring up, like hitting the brake and having all this garbage come forward is, what I love with Living Miracles, it's just being, it's being done automatically through the system of how we all work together. And with the movies, for me, the movies work really well because it can bring up shame, it can bring up sadness, it can bring up anger, and then I can really look at it. And what's very important for me as a tool is, once this stuff comes up, I don't know what to do with it. So before, I thought I have to intellectualize. Okay, this is anger. I got to do that. I got to do this with the anger, or this is sadness, and it's not like that. I don't have to figure it out. I can just say, look, there it is. I feel horrible right now. I feel wide open. Just have it. Now you can go in. Go in. As he says, you got to let me in there, and I'll take the lantern. I even hold your hand, but we got to go in there and look. So that's the willingness. The willingness is to say, okay, there's still a lot of darkness in the subconscious. Let's go in there and expose it. And it's very clear when the time is the right thing to say, okay, now it's there. The other day, it was funny. I was really angry at someone who did stuff, on my ranch, and he did something I told him not to do. He did it, and I found out just before going to the dentist. And I thought, I got my phone, and then I said, okay, I just have to sit with that anger. I had all these tools in my mouth, and there's nothing I could do. And I actually started feeling palpitations here. It's interesting. I never allow myself to feel the anger this deeply, but I was pinned in the chair, so I couldn't do anything. Because usually what would I do? I would call and say, this is not okay, but then I would get really angry, and then somehow my ego would be satisfied with that, take the anger, and push it back down again, And, and it's the same with, it's kind of the same with everything, with anything. But then it was like, oh, there it is, I'm there with my mouth open and they're cleaning my teeth, and said, take it, it's there. And I kept feeling it. This is becoming unbearable. This is nothing I can do. And then eventually it just went away. And I know there was a lot of anger being cleared up in that moment. So, you know, it's just do nothing, feel the feeling and offer it to spirit, because now it's there and now the wound is open. And the wound of anger is super unpleasant, because what is the impulse? Is the impulse to go and act on it and say, you know, and this is where, when you're really angry, you gotta, you know, express it. But most people, or me anyway, will express it by you know, by screaming at the person. And they say, well, now I express it. But that doesn't do anything, because that all it does, it satisfies the ego. And then you know, the thing shuts down again, and the anger is back in the subconscious. So it's a long-winded explanation to say, you know, I learned to feel the feeling, and as it's there, I offer it. And there's the cleanse, you know, there's a definite cleanse, because I felt so much better for the rest of the day, because something has healed. So this is the healing that we do in community, you know, that just bring it up, don't hold back. And this is great, because now I'm in Santa Barbara, I'm not in community, I can still do it.
Yeah, it becomes a practice. And as you were speaking, I mean, it's the same thing. Every time these things come up, the pause, you know, the miracle is the pause, you know, and in the 12-step book, it says, when agitated, we pause. And there's this constant prayer of thy will be done to help me remember. But it's like funny, because I've taken those things and now it's actually spirit, you know, and it's like anytime there's any type of, and this is what I do in the morning. First thing, I wake up and I go downstairs and I sit for an hour and I just actually scan my mind for any type of thing, like anything that rises up that is any type of irritation or something I took from the last day. And I allow that to come up, and then I take it through the process. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no minor disturbances either. So any type of frustration or whatever it is, and I take it through, because you said, you know, it's based on, I'm keeping it is because of what I want. So I actually have to get down into the lower level of desire. And these first, you know, 3 steps, we're at the point where we're going through. The humility is actually offering it up, you know, the belief, when we get to the belief level. But it's not until I get in touch with that desire that, oh, I actually want something to be different. And it's holding in place one of these things that we're talking about. It's like, for some reason, I have these defenses built up, and it's all based in this guilt. But through these steps, we're allowed to hit the brakes and allow, you know, rather gradually, we'd rather that approach, but we allow these things to come up so that we can actually see why we desire them. A lot of times the prayer is with, you know, I'm joining with the ones in my house, which is Susanna and Peter now. And a lot of times it's like, the prayer is, let me just see where I value this. Like, why am I valuing whatever it is? And I noticed this morning, actually, I had a last minute request for something on the shows, and I noticed this anger come up, and I expressed it. I was with Peter and Susanna, and I expressed it immediately. And then it was like, okay, I got this coming up, and let me pray. And it's really, I could see in my mind that it wasn't even what was asked. It was actually, I had already intended on doing it, because I can people please, and I can do that. I intended on doing it because there was an obligation, there was a responsibility. All those things were played in so quickly that like the anger rose up, and I was like, no, it's like, pray, what do you actually feel to do? And then of course they came up and they shared, oh, I know it's last minute, and I shared my thoughts, and okay, let's try to do this way. But it's always based in this expectation and assumption. We watched that movie last night, and that was the one thing that, you know, really struck me. We watched that every day that we watched at Casa Quantico. And even in a relationship like that, where the girl, like, it was a different body every day, you know, the form changed, but there was still expectation. You know, there was still this, oh, I expect somebody to show up tomorrow. And anytime there's an expectation, I can assure you that behind that, there's some kind of, you know, the disturbance, there is a desire underneath it. So it's like, yeah, to be able to do that and pause in those moments to allow that process to take place is really what, you know, 5, 6, and 7 are about in the 12-step program.
Yeah, and the pause sometimes has to be a long time, you know. Sometimes just pulling over the car and just sit there. You know, I get very triggered by by stuff on the road, you know, people like just people pushing me out or cutting me off and things like that. And there's that real tendency to want to step on the gas and go and punish, you know, and it goes. I don't know what it is for me that triggers me so much, but I guess, you know, I just feel like somebody. I'm not being seen. Somebody's trying to take my spot. You know, it's probably something I acted out already as a kid. I know it's not probably. It's what happened, and it comes in that you know, in that instance when I'm driving. I don't know, when I'm driving. It really it comes to be very strong with people I don't even know. But you know, it's you know, the halt, when I was saying the halt, you know, when agitated and pause, I always thought, you know, it's just a few seconds, but sometimes I have to take a really long time and observe what comes up, because then it goes away and whoops, there it's again, you know. And so I have to take the time to do it. You know, I mean, what follows afterwards, what I really is, you know, that we have 8 and 9, and then we have 10, where we continuously take inventory of ourselves. And like you, I don't like these words very much, you know, that they use these sets like shortcomings and inventory and the word moral and all this. But that's what's so beautiful about the course, you know, it brings a different language into it. And so we
sure is. We're running out of time here, Frank, but yeah, actually when you're
exciting.
Yeah, it does. Well, our new direction, we may you know, have a longer show, the two of us. We'll see what happens. But it's funny, as you were talking at the end there, when you're talking about, even you were talking about the driving and like this tendency to want to hit, that's actually what happens in my mind. Like when I hit the brakes and all this stuff comes up, the tendency want to just mash the gas and take off and put all that stuff back. And, you know, in the community, we call that a runner. Like we want to come, we face stuff, and then we want to take off. But it's really to let go of the wheel and, you know, allow spirit to take over. But yeah, and I don't know if there's a glitch in the matrix, but I think the same cat has walked by like 7 times in your house. I don't know how he's getting back to the other room.
It's true. Those are Emma's cats, and there's two. Okay. They're both.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah. I told him not to bother me during the show. But
All right, so thank you so much, Frank. Well, I think the next time we're on, you may be in France, so you'll be zooming in from France.
In Switzerland, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about the time we have. So, Frank, we'll see you soon, and see all you guys out there in another couple of weeks. We have another set of shows next week, but we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Oh, there's everyone. Hey, Steve. Hey, Steve.
How do I see everyone?
You got it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, thanks for joining us today, everybody. It's been a really wonderful lineup of shows. As Jeffrey said, we'll be on again next week, and same time for now until a lot of these big changes start to land and maybe shift some things around. But for now, just stay tuned. 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time to 1:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And as I've mentioned before, we've got a bonus today. It's going to be on a different Zoom channel and different Facebook Live page. But David will be having a free online gathering today, starting in about an hour and a half. And yeah, it's going to be with Portuguese translation. So it's a really good opportunity to just take it slow, absorb the teachings, and meet our whole Portuguese speaking database, or attendees. So that's all I have for today. Susan, I don't know if you want to close us out.
Yeah, just thank you for joining us, everyone. Oh, we have something else coming in. Oh, yeah. Let's wave goodbye.
Look at everyone's face.
Oh, there's La Casa.
This is my favorite part.
Dion, Patrick. Farewell.
Bye.